At the Rose Bowl, and I'm speaking to, what is your name?
Richard Natoli.
Richard Natoli. Do you know Steve Natoli by any chance? He's so Richard, I see that you have all these industrial kinds of things. What is the name of your business?
It's called Pure Industrial.
Pure Industrial.
Pure Industrial.
And how did you come up with this concept, and what is the concept?
The concept for me is more about shape and form, and things that are all made in the United States. Where we used to be a great country, we used to make a lot of everything, and this is kind of reminiscent of for me. Getting back to the thing, I think people are attracted to it for that particular reason.
So about what years would you say your stuff represents?
20s and 30s, and a lot of these things, these gears and things, started with the Industrial Revolution. Like this piece right here, you know, believe it or not, this piece right here is one of the first pieces that was put in the Museum of Modern Art. It was designed, it was patented.
You mean one like this, or this very one?
Like, not this is the one exactly like it, was patented in the late 1800s. This piece right here, it looks very modern, but it was actually made in the early 1900s. It was patented in the late 1800s. And there's all the guys who invented the ball bearings. But all these things like this were all the things that started the Industrial Revolution. All these pieces and gears, some of them are from the 20s and 30s.
So do you do custom stuff? Or?
Well, I do. I make things like that. I take the gears and I made that lamp over there.
Well, why don't you show me the lamp? Is there a name for this?
Well, it's just these are all, again, all gears and from all kinds of different machineries and trucks and cars. And I have an Edison bulb that's going on the top of here, and a dome that I'm making out of metal. But all these are all gears that I've just put together in the shape. And again, it's about the shape and the form. And again, made in the United States, all American made.
Now, since you have a lot of stuff with gears, is this considered a sub-genre of steampunk?
Well, you know, it's funny that you should say that, because I've been told that my stuff has a real steam. I didn't even know what that meant until about a
Well,
year
they
now.
use a lot of gears.
Yeah, exactly. I know now. But
your gears are a little more modern than theirs, but
right in there. Lo and behold, it actually is very, very steampunk, and it fits in with that whole genre that's going on right now. And absolutely, I had somebody do a steampunk wedding, and they came and they bought a bunch of things from me.
Ah, so they used your stuff to decorate a steampunk wedding.
Absolutely.
And how long have you been doing this particular thing?
Well, this I've been doing it for the gears. I've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years.
About 2 or 3 years. And
Yeah.
what were you doing prior to that?
Well, I was still doing industrial things, but more furniture. And then I branched out and started doing more personal, more art-oriented things that I was developing myself, instead of making a table or taking something and repolishing it and taking the rust off it. I was actually not making the materials, but putting them together.
So, let me ask you where you're from, where you were raised?
Well, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. And when did you come here?
I came out here in '62.
62. So you and the Dodgers came out here around the same time.
Actually, yeah, and I was born in '55. I think that was the last year the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. And it's a good place.
And where did you go to school?
I went to school. I went to Fairfax High.
Fairfax High. I went to Hollywood High.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
So you were, I know we're the Lions. I forget. Well, you were.
We're the Sheiks.
The Sheiks.
Yes, we're the only school where our mascot is a condom.
That's right.
There's a lot of animals. And so did you go to college after that?
No, I didn't go to college.
So what was the main thing that you've done what's the main thrust of your career?
Well, the main thrust of my career, wow, that's a tough one.
Well, what are some of the main jobs that you've had?
I've been a grip for 38 years.
Oh, a what?
A grip.
What does a grip do?
Well, I work at the studios. I do lighting diffusion. I've been doing that for 38 years at Warner Brothers.
And what are some of the movies that you participated in?
Well, a little movie called E.T. with Steven Spielberg.
You probably didn't see the box office, but some people would call that a big movie. So what would you remember a scene that you gripped it in?
Well, no, listen, I worked on that whole movie.
Was there a particular scene that you remember that stood out?
I tell you what stood out in my mind when I think about that movie. I think about Steven Spielberg dressing up as a woman on Halloween Day, and Deborah Winger I had worked with her on a couple other movies, and she was friendly with Steven. We used to all have to wear these little badges with our pictures on them, and everybody
high security on ET
exactly.
set.
And everybody was stealing people's other badges, and there was a bounty out on Stevens for $100. Whoever got Stevens' badge was going to get $100. Well, but nobody had the BALLS to get it. Now Deborah Winger came on the set, and I had known Deborah from Cannery Row and the John Travolta movie before that, the Urban Cowboy. So I knew her very well. Now I said, now Deborah came in. Oh, Deborah, I'm glad you're here. Do me a favor. Can you get Steven's badge for me? Well, the only time you could even possibly might be able to get it when he's looking through the lens, you might be able to get it.
Because he'd be so focused on that.
If you ever got caught. But I said, Deborah, do me a favor. I told her the story that I just told you. She walked up to Steven, just took it right off his shirt. He just looked a little, didn't say anything. She walked over, gave it to me. I got $100. That's what I remember. Steven Spielberg dressing up as a woman on Halloween Day.
Well, okay,
that's what I remember.
That's quite a memory.
Drew Barrymore. Had I known she was going to turn out to be such a little number, but she was just a little kid back then. But that's a couple of memories, all very fond. And the other movie, another movie I worked on with Robert De Niro, it was a boxing movie. Oh, Raging Bull.
Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Which probably his biggest movie, other than The Godfather.
I did all the boxing scenes for that.
You did the boxing scenes in Raging Bull?
6 weeks over at Culver City Studios.
Wow.
That's where they did all the boxing scenes.
Well, that must have been a gruesome movie when he banged the wall with his fist.
He was actually, listen, when he gets into his character,
I assume he was.
He was in great shape, and I remember Marty was going out with the girls, the famous woman. Her mom was in Casablanca. The daughter, what's her name? The daughter, the girls in Casablanca, Erna Bergman's daughter. What's her name? I don't know. She's a famous actress. She was in the David Lynch movie, Blue Velvet. Anyway, I can't remember her name right now. Anyway, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. She was very young. Came on the set a lot. But De Niro was. I mean, he was an intense guy. He's an intense guy. He was into his craft, so you didn't talk to Bobby, Mr. De Niro, because he was into character a lot. And, it's a tough thing when you're working on set.
Sure.
You want to be friendly with the crew, but you're trying to do your job, and your job is to be in this character, not just when the camera stops. With those method actors, they're still just want to be. So it's difficult for them.
So was there another director that you had worked with that you were impressed with that we might not know as such an impressive director? Someone that surprised you with his skill and capability?
The director I tell you, I got to tell you this: that Steven Spielberg is the nicest guy in the world. He doesn't, as far as directors, I got to say that he is probably the best director I've ever worked with.
And what was the thing that made him so good? Other than his intensity and his focus.
He knows what he wants. He does his homework, and he doesn't do a lot of takes. I don't like guys that do a lot of takes, because it's just we're working on a crew. It seems that he killed the spontaneity out of it.
And he doesn't do the takes because it's meticulously planned.
And he knows what he wants. He gets it real quick. He always brings his movies under budget and within a reasonable time, and he's fast. And for us as a crew, that's what we want.
Is it just more interesting and exciting that way?
It's just nice to work with somebody that knows what they're doing. He knows what
Have you ever worked for a director who did not know what he's doing and took a lot of takes that you can reveal?
I've known a lot of directors who couldn't direct traffic, let alone a movie.
Well,
Bill Duke is one of them. I would say Bill Duke.
I don't know him.
He's actually an actor, a black guy, tall, big guy, black guy, bald. He was in that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger with the alien thing that was invisible. Oh, I forget the name of it, but he was in that. Big black guy, bald guy. He directed. We did Sister Act 2. This guy couldn't direct traffic. And you guys getting $3 or $4 million a picture, and they're lined up to give him another $3 or $4 million.
Who was your favorite, director? Maybe not that you worked with, but director of all times, living or dead or whatever. One that you really had a lot of respect for. I don't know, like Stanley. How about the guy that did 2001? Orson Welles.
I think Orson Welles. When you look at Citizen Kane, some of his movies, that guy was way ahead of his time. I mean, some of the things he was doing, even as someone that's been on a film set since I was 9 years old, the guy, no wonder they thought he was weird or something, because he certainly didn't. It was hitting the beat of a different drummer. Even today, when I still watch his films, so that guy, you know, for the time that he was doing what he was doing, maybe now you know, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But for then, for what he was doing, my God, you would think they would have ripped that camera out of his hand and said, my God, son, what are you doing?
Well, Citizen Kane looked genius and amateurish at the same time.
But the things that are genius are pure genius, and they're doing just, listen, anybody can do this. If people say, you know what I usually do is I keep a box of these over here behind the truck, because the guy said, honey, I can do that. All I did is put a bunch of gears together. Well, you know what? You're absolutely right. That's all I did. A 2-year-old could do that, right? But the reason why people like it is because they're attracted to it, because it's perfect. And it's perfect because I made it perfect, because I have a good eye. No, anybody else that doesn't have.
Well, I don't think I could take a box full of gears and turn it into something beautiful as you have.
But you'd be amazed how many people.
Well, they're just fooling themselves.
Honey, listen, I can do that. You know.
Have at it.
Have at it. Knock yourself out, and I'll be glad to tell where you can get them, because you can do it yourself. You're absolutely right. You could do it. It ain't gonna look like this.
That can look like nothing.
Are they soldered? How do you?
Yeah, well, not right now. Right now, there's a little metal